Hello and welcome to Your Broken Galaxy. I am Broken, and today I'm answering Nabi Firefly 57's question, what if Obi Wan crashed while chasing Jango? So Obi Wan has found Jango and the clone armies on Kamino. He had a little fight with him in the rain, and he told the Jedi Council about the clones. And now he has tracked Jango to Kamino, which, by the way, if they had hyperspace tracking all the way back in Episode 2, how in the world did it catch them by surprise in The Last Jedi? Just one of 1,000 reasons why The Last Jedi is an abomination of film. Anyway, Obi-Wan has dropped out of hyperspace behind Jango, and he is now chasing Jango through the rings of Geonosis. But, accompanied by his faithful son Boba, they have discovered that they are being tracked, and decide that it's just about time that Obi-Wan wasn't there anymore. He does some shooting, detonates a couple sonic charges, but just as Obi-Wan flies his ship down and out of the way of its detonation, a rock, the size of Dwayne Johnson, ends up smashing directly into his ship, hurting him badly, decompressing the air, and sending him careening into another rock the size of Dwayne Johnson's house, ending his life immediately. So, he never lets Anakin know he's on Geonosis, and Count Dooku ends up just meeting with the Separatist leaders. They form their little alliance and kind of just wait. After a couple of days, Anakin and Padme have returned to Naboo to continue their flirting, and Yoda's ended up going to Kamino to get the clone army. Palpatine, at this point, is a little bit frustrated that Geonosis was never attacked, but he ends up deciding that it's time for Dooku to formally secede from the Republic. Now, in the original movie, Dooku was just having a nice little meeting between like-minded individuals about their political ambitions and goals when, out of nowhere, Padme broke into their factory accompanied by the human pesticide named Anakin, who of course did his job very well. In an unbelievable show of restraint, the bugs apprehended Anakin rather than shoot him on the spot, and he was justly sentenced to execution for the lives of a dozen or so innocent factory guards that he has taken out with his sword-shaped bug zapper. Then, the entire army of the Republic, in open defiance of Geonosian sovereignty and their right to prosecute the criminal Skywalker, dropped out of hyperspace, commanded by the 2-foot-tall leader of the state-sanctioned religious cult. But in this version of the story, none of that happens. When Dooku says that the Separatists are seceding from the Republic, the hot-headed and thoughtless Jedi aren't able to just walk in lightsabers ablazing and start hacking away at everyone, causing galaxy-wide aggressive negotiations. No, in this case, the next day in the Senate, some freaky-looking alien says that the CIS has a legitimate grievance and that they should be allowed to leave the Republic peaceably. And everyone is like, vote now, and it passes. That the CIS planets may leave over the course of a 5-year plan that will untangle the federal and local governments. The CIS Council is like super thrilled about this and just overwhelmingly pleased with Dooku's ability to bring them the results they wanted. They didn't even have to spend quadrillions upon quadrillions of credits funding the war. Most of them scrapped out or sold their standing battle droids as security guards even. And while the Separatists did leave the Republic legally, it was still a massive embarrassment for Palpatinium over here. He ends up getting voted out of office. Meanwhile, Yoda assigns the ever-intelligent and competent Oppo Rancisis to look into the creation of the clone army. The Kaminoans get audited, and they admit that they basically just took the most massive check that anyone in their race had ever seen, and they didn't ask questions as they grew the clone army for 10 years. So, the clones were decommissioned as an army, and they all ended up getting jobs as security guards or planetary self-defense force. And this is all happening over the course of a week. Palpatine is utterly furious, so he flies to Serrano to see Dooku and comes storming in, and Dooku is like, Master, isn't it wonderful that the Republic is finally starting to rid itself of corruption? And Palps is not having it. He straight up grabs Dooku around the throat in the Force, lifts him off the ground, pulls Dooku's own lightsaber into his hand, and then thrusts it through Dooku's heart. Then he looks to his left to find a camera crew that was setting up an interview for Good Morning Galaxy that had filmed the whole thing with off-site video backups. And Palp says, "Oh, hi there. I'm not... You know what? Screw it." And then he electrocutes them all, walks over to the camera and says, I'm coming for you, Jedi. Now, the entire galaxy is like, what the heck is the deal with this super weird video of former Supreme Chancellor walking in and assassinating Dooku with space wizard powers? And as the Jedi Council is all assembled together, Yoda is like, fools were we not to see Palpatine was the Sith Lord. Cunning indeed he is to have orchestrated this breakup of the Republic and the decommissioning of both armies. Layers upon layers his plans must have. Prepared for anything we must be. And Kit Fisto stands up and points to the window of the room and opens his mouth to yell. But just before he can get the words out, Mace says, "It's Palpatine!" Palpatine, hanging off the side of an airspeeder with an ignited lightsaber in his hand, wearing a tactical vest, combat boots, BDU pants, and a black tank top, leaps at the window from the speeder. In mid-air, he force pushes the window, shattering it, and lands inside in a classic superhero landing pose. He stands up and says, "I told you I was coming for you." "I'm sorry, I just have to say," Anakin says, "that was a really cool entrance." "Gosh darn it, Skywalker!" Mace yells, and Palpatine rushes forward. He stabs Oppo Rancisis right in the face, and then bisects Depa Balaga, and Aegon Kolar leaps out of the window, knowing that he'll only get in the way. Kit Fisto jumps forward with Plo Koon, but Palpatine is ready. He takes off Kit Fisto's saber hand, grabs the octopus man by one of the head tentacles, and ends up using the Force to enhance his strength and hurl the man out the broken window. "Of this enough we have had," Yoda says. Anakin, Mace, Yoda, Plo Koon, and Shaak Ti all ignite their lightsabers and take defensive stances. They start circling Palpatine, and Palpatine says, "Join me, Anakin!" And Mace says, "I knew it! Skywalker can't be trusted." Palpatine has been seducing him to the dark side all this time. And Anakin says, "What?" So, Yoda says, "Take young Skywalker, you will, Master Windu. The former Chancellor, myself, and Master Koon will defeat." And Shaak Ti says, "What about me, Master?" And Plo says, "Just stand in the corner so you don't get yourself killed." And she does. But Anakin is like, "Master Windu, I haven't joined the dark side. I didn't know that Palpatine was a Sith. He's trying to turn me against you." And Meg says, "I don't think so." So Anakin is like, "Look, here, I surrender my lightsaber." And he tosses it over to Mace, who slashes it in half with his own purple blade. And Anakin says, "Dude, that was my lightsaber. I didn't want you to destroy it. Just hold on to it while we sorted out this whole Palpatine thing." Meanwhile, Plo and Palps are having what looks like a completely normal sword fight, with the major exception of Yoda spinning and bouncing around like a green Sonic the Hedgehog. Palps can't handle them both, so he ends up pulling out his other lightsaber and starts dual-wielding. Mace handcuffs Anakin and starts to walk him to the detention center. The room is empty except for Yoda, Plo, Palpatine, and Shaak Ti sitting in the corner pouting that she can't join in. "You've ruined everything," Palpatine says. "Did we?" Yoda asks. "Sorry I am, but a little confused we are." And Plo says, "Wasn't this according to your Sith grand plan to divide the Republic?" "My what?" Palpatine says. "You know, your Sith grand plan," Plo responds. "Some plan that had been contrived over the course of, maybe 1,000 years to get back at the Jedi for the tragedies inflicted during the Jedi-Sith War." "You seriously think that I would have orchestrated the events that caused me to lose my position as the lawfully elected ruler of the galaxy?" "To be fair," Yoda said, "if already the ruler of the galaxy you were, why seek additional power?" And Palpatine says, "Oh, forget this." He throws one of his lightsabers into Shaak Ti's chest, then jumps towards Yoda, extending his other saber at him while blasting Plo with Force lightning. Just then, Anakin and Mace come walking back into the room, smiling and carrying ice cream cones. "Master Yoda, we worked it out," Anakin says. "Oh no!" Mace then screamed just as Plo Koon starts getting ripped to pieces molecule by molecule from the Force lightning. "A little help could I get over here?" Yoda says. Anakin force grabs Shaak Ti's otherwise useless lightsaber, and he and Mace jump into the fray. Palpatine can't handle all three of them. They attack as a unified Force unit. Finally, there is an opening, and Mace takes off Palpatine's saber hand. The Sith Lord uses his other hand to force pull his dismembered hand, still holding the lightsaber, to itself. And the ingenious move catches the three Jedis off guard. Their confusion at how he is able to holding on to his hand, holding on to his lightsaber, and still wielding it with grace and elegance, allows him to stab Mace Windu right in the face. Yoda slashes off Palpatine's other hand, and Anakin force pushes him into a wall. "The prophecy you will fulfill, Skywalker," Yoda says to Anakin. And Anakin says, "You mean the prophecy to destroy the Sith?" And Yoda says, "Yes." And Anakin says, "You mean, like, right now?" And Yoda says, "Yes." "You mean I should just stab this guy, like, right now, in cold blood?" And Yoda says, "Yes." "Oh, I don't know, Master," Anakin says. "Very well, very well. Turn him over to the courts, we will. And when inevitably his sentence or execution is administered, a Jedi representative, Skywalker, will perform the execution." So, Palpatine goes to trial. He is found guilty of all sorts of collusion, assassinations, attempts on the lives of all sorts of people, corruption of every kind. There is a lengthy appeals process, but everything is eventually shot down. Due to the grindingly slow legal system, Palpatine actually ends up living in prison for the next 23 years, and then finally, on the day of his execution, Anakin Skywalker is summoned to the individual confinement Ultramax Extreme High Security Prison that is on an asteroid orbiting a black hole. The only officer on duty, who is a Toydarian immune to force manipulation, lets Anakin on board, and Anakin says, "How are we doing this thing?" And the Toydarian says, "Electric chair." And Anakin looks through the viewport at Palpatine, who is strapped down, tied up, and gagged, and says, "Nah, that's not gonna work." He grabs the guard, throws him onto the ship that he had come, and then he force pushes the asteroid in the direction of the black hole. As it is falling, Anakin fires every rocket, missile, bomb, turbo laser available on the ship and blasts that thing into oblivion. Well, that is my video for today. I hope that you enjoyed it. It was nice to get to write. As you guys may know, as seen in my posts, I have been very busy within real life stuff, and it's good stuff. I am happy, I am content. It just takes me away from doing this fun little hobby of making YouTube videos. If you guys have ideas, please go ahead and share those ideas with me. Share my videos with your friends and all that stuff. It is nice to interact with you guys, so I appreciate the comments as well. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and all that garbage.